Anyway, guys, welcome back for season two
of season 2. That's so much easier to keep count when we're sub 10. Anything over 10, I just guess. We're on episode 57. Natasha's like, nope, it's 40. So episode 2, season 2. We got Jessica here, who I kind of come in cold. I'm going to be honest, because I want to ask the elementary questions that our audience would ask someone in your position, how it all works. So the little bit that I got, and I'm going to ask you to fill in some gaps, is you help real estate agents financially with their business.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically what I am is a virtual bookkeeper, which is just a fancy way to say I'm a bookkeeper who works from home.
Perfect.
I mean, that's really what it is. But yeah, I come in and I help more than real estate agents, but real estate has such an interesting bookkeeping side of it that I love coming alongside real estate agents and being like, okay, let's really talk about what you need to do. And so, yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. In what other industries do you work with other than agents specifically?
Really, my niche market, if you want to get fancy with the language, is small business owners. So I can help in any market. I'm just looking at those mom and pop type businesses, 1, maybe 2 owners, 3 to 4 employees tops, if they have employees at all. Very small startup or do it themselves, which real estate agents just line up with that perfectly, because most of the time it's a husband and wife team, if it's a team at all. A lot of times it's, a single person in the family doing it and trying to do it all.
Yeah, that's very cool. And you work outside of Texas, obviously being remote, so you've got agents all over.
Yeah,
how is that? How is that going over governance and laws and differences? And I mean, we got tax rates and all that different stuff. How do you keep that all together?
Well, it's very nice for me because I am just a bookkeeper, which means I don't have to keep up with all of the tax law. And my side of the business is very, very standardized. You purchase something from this place, it almost always falls into this category. You get something from so-and-so, it gets put into this. So my side of it is very, very standardized, cut and dry. Whatever the federal guidelines are, it's the same guidelines for every state as far as how stuff is recorded.
Okay.
Very black and white, right?
Yeah. Very, very black and white. It's one of those it's one of the few areas in real estate that it really is black and white. There's very little gray area in bookkeeping.
Yeah. But it needs to happen. And I am being like kind of a one-man shop. Bookkeeping is the pain in my side of just, I'll put the kids to bed and I'm like, I've got 30 receipts I need to go through.
And I love numbers. So I'm with you, Jessica.
Yeah.
And it's daunting because I track all my trips with an app. So when I start the car, it starts. And when I stop, it stops. And all of a sudden, before I know, I'm like, okay, I've got 340 trips to categorize. This should be fun.
Right.
So being a small business, and if there's any small business owners listening, they know the struggle of it. So that market is great.
For small business owners, it can even be more daunting because if you work from home, do I write off my office or do I not write off my office?
I've heard that it's really sketchy to write off your office because the federal government really is cracking down on home offices. Is that correct?
Yes and no. So it gets tricky. And again, I am not a tax person, but I have experience handling how this is processed, but I'm not giving tax advice here. I just have to put that clarification in.
We'll put the disclaimer right underneath as we do our edit. We'll go right here.
Perfect.
Not a tax attorney.
Right. So, but basically the rule of thumb is this. You take the square footage, if you own your home. If you're a renter, don't do this. But if you own your home, mortgage, whatever, you take the square footage of your home and then the square footage of your home office, wherever that is, and figure out what that percentage is. And that percentage is what you can write off. So you can write off 10% of your electric bill. You can write off 10% of your internet bill. You can write off 10% of your phone bill because that's your office usage.
My question is, and I was reading something, and it might be completely inaccurate, but this is what I was reading, was that you have to be able to like have your clients be able to come into your office as well.
Some states have that
stipulation
guideline, but the federal guideline is if you work in a space in your home designated for work.
Yep.
So this can't be, I set my laptop on the kitchen table. I have a huge kitchen, so I get to write off, 15% of my home. No, you get to write off 1% because the kitchen table is your office.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas if you have a designated office space. So if you work from home, no matter what industry, you can justify writing it off. If you invite clients into your home, it's a lot easier to prove that it is being used for that. So that's why most tax accountants will say, I either need a specific designated, this area is work only, or I need to be able to prove that you have clients coming into your home.
I guess I can't because ours isn't in my closet, so or my workspace is in my closet, as you can kind of see.
Right.
So I'm just gonna skip it. I'll just skip it.
I was gonna say, and honestly, most people, the amount you get a write-off is negligible. Like, I mean, for you, that closet space might take up 1% of your total square footage.
Right.
So 1% of, let's just use round numbers here, a $300 electric bill is $3.
Yeah.
Is that really worth it?
I'll skip it this year. Thanks for the advice.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, most home offices, it's not really worth it to write off. But there are certain business types where it becomes really, really beneficial.
Right.
For most real estate agents, you're not looking at even anywhere near those business types. So it's really, do you really want to get that extra $3?
Right.
Back
but they have like mileage they can account for. They have signage they can account for. They have so many other, and like gifts they give to their clients or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think the big thing was the designated area.
Right.
The one thing that I've always done when I get my office set up is I take a picture of it because I want them to see that it is a desk. There's no toys, there's no clothes, there's no like bed. It's just an office. That's just what the room is used for. And that was something that I was told like very early on when I started as an agent. Like if I work from home and you want to do a discount for it, just make sure that room is isolated as the office. And just like you're saying, if it's not like a huge loss, it's more trouble than to do it.
Yeah.
But so that was one thing that the kitchen table example that you had was like perfect.
And there are those few gray areas. So for example, my office is in my guest room, but it's used as an office 90% of the time and a guest room 10% of the time. So if I wasn't a renter, I could technically write the entire room space off as an office space. But going back to that kitchen table example, it's used as a workspace 10% of the time and as a family gathering space 90% of the time.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to argue that in any form as that is a write-offable space.
Yeah.
But
that's
if
a good
you
point.
had,
I didn't know about the guest room thing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So what a lot of my tax accountant friends say is you have to think about it as, what is this space being used for the majority of the time? If you can prove, and they say 75% or more, I say 80% or more. If you can easily prove that 80% of the time that space is used for work, go ahead and write it off. If you can't prove that, why risk the audit?
Right.
That's my thing.
I never want to get audited. I was a small business owner prior to working in real estate. And every year at tax time, I mean, I was so excited for tax time. Like I said, I love numbers. In fact, I worked for a tax firm for a number of years, like doing data entry for them.
Right.
so much fun. And people are like, that's
sounds
so boring.
like it.
And I was like, no, it's so much fun. I love it. But anyway, when we did taxes every year, I was so excited for it, but I was so nervous, like biting my fingers, nervous that I was going to get audited for something stupid. And I was like, I don't want to have to go through all of my receipts and everything with these scary auditors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, you two are in a different world with these numbers, because I'll leave them to you guys.
Yay! I love numbers.
I remember doing my accounting this year. It was very weird because I recorded them because I wasn't sure, obviously not an accountant. So all of my build for my home I was just recording purchase, billables, labor, all that stuff. And technically it is my residence. So didn't write it off when we came to it. But those are like little nuances that I'm like, yeah, the crew's here, everybody's working on it, but not technically a job site. So all my miles to that house when we're doing it, not technically a job site, it's still you're building your home. And I was like, I get that. I hate that that's the rule, but I get it. And those are the things that like having the bookkeeper that has the knowledge on it. You two, I'm pointing at both of you guys for like in these numbers. And I'm sitting there like, I have to go through this itemized list of like, okay, this purchase was for this property. This purchase was for this drive was to that property. And I was like, you do this all day, every day? Like you just enjoy this stuff because this is a pain.
And I will tell you, I will give you a background or insider look. We really don't. That's the best part of it. There is so much automation out there that, I sit down and look at all of my clients' numbers and do all of that stuff that gives you a headache, but most of it's automated for me. And I'm just clicking a button and approving stuff.
That's awesome. So with your systems that are set up, do your owners have access to jump into like a portal where they can see where they're at, or how do you communicate with them? What does that all look like for the people who are interested in how your service works?
So I often joke that I'm the Netflix of bookkeeping. I'm not a bookkeeper that charges an hourly rate, which is very, very rare. I talk with my clients and I put together a customized, tailor-made monthly subscription style packets. And so you pay the same amount every month and you get excellent quality service. You have access to me and all that stuff. But I use systems, whether it's QuickBooks or Xero or HoneyBooks or any of the myriad of accounting software. I use those. And what that does is it allows my client to log in and see everything, allows me to log in and see everything. And it allows me to generate reports that I can then send to my client, and we can have very detailed discussions on, okay, I know you wanted to hit this number in your business, but you have 8 different ad campaigns running and none of them are bringing you anything in. Can we cut that down to 2 or 3 and maybe amp up the message and really get some really good ads going and cut costs, and you'll get to that number? Or, you have 8 houses on the market. This is the one that's going to give you the best commission. Let's focus on that one and get it sold this month. And then we can focus on the other 4. And if the other, 6 sell while we're focused on this one, that's great. But let's put all of our ads into this one.
Yeah.
And so I can give very targeted, this is the goal you have. What do we need to do to get to that goal? Yeah. And then I can take those number sheets that you get and you're like, what does this mean? And I can translate it and I can put it into layman's terms to where you actually know how well you're doing.
That's
how
awesome.
healthy your business
you
is.
Are not, you are not just a bookkeeper, because you're going into analytics and all that stuff. So that is
and
awesome.
If you get a bookkeeper worth their salt, that's what we do. I often joke that the bookkeeper is the heartbeat of the company. And the owner is the brain.
I love it.
So the owner is the one generating all the ideas, getting out there, doing all of the movement and stuff. But I'm the one in the background, making sure the blood's pumping. making sure the cash is flowing the way it needs to be, making sure there's not a shortage, making sure the business is healthy. And that's what a good bookkeeper does that for you. They come in and say, okay, yes, I'm not you, so I'm not going to know when a purchase is for this property. You have to make sure you tell me that information. But besides those little nitty gritties, I'm going to make sure all financials are handled correctly for you.
Wish so desperately that you were a tax planner, because I would hire you in a hot second to like come and be my tax planner.
Right. I'm not a tax planner. Sorry.
I know. I wish you were. I love what you're presenting though with your subscription basis. Like,
that's very cool.
Like brilliant. Holy cow.
Well, and it's so in my side of stuff. I mean, if you think about hiring a bookkeeper, most small business owners just see dollar signs.
That's exactly what I do. That's exactly, and I never did, because that's all I saw was like dollar signs going out of my pocket into theirs. And I'm like, why would I pay somebody when I can kind of figure out what I'm doing? Or I'll look it up, or I'll just Google it. I'm like, I can figure it out, right?
And I mean, to be completely honest, even 5 years ago, that was the case. I mean, it's not, if you were to go on to LinkedIn or Indeed or any of those sites and look up hiring a bookkeeper, it's not uncommon to see $25 an hour.
Oh, come on.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
What could I do to make this approachable for small businesses? And that's that idea of just one payment a month. I know what it's not going to just drop in and out. It's set.
Right.
That's awesome. I mean, I like that because it's one, for a small business owner, they're very conscientious of how much money they're spending in a certain area. But what bugs me, it's not so much the spending, it's not knowing, okay, this is like architects. I'm just looking at a bill right now from an architect. So I'm bringing up that example.
Right.
I had him on this one. He was designing, this one was the duplex that I'm putting up.
Okay.
When I give him that project, I have no idea how long that's going to take him. So I just get a bill when it's done. He's like, yep, 4 hours. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I have to, I can't do it. So 4 hours sounds great to me. But like having the subscription, knowing that I would pay this amount every month, flat rate, I can plan for that. I can't plan for like, how long is this going to take you? And then, okay, I got a bill. That sounds great. That's nerve-wracking.
And with bookkeeping, it's so hard because if you're charging by the hour, some months, it may take me an hour and a half to do your everything. You had a slow month, there's very few transactions, hour and a half done. Other months, it could be 6, 8, 12 hours. And you're like, okay, but how do I plan for that? Whereas I am, like I said, custom made. I talk to my clients. I see what services they need. I quote them a price that is made for them, keeping in mind their budget, keeping in mind my cost, all of that is added in, but it's that set rate. Flat.
So it's kind of an a la carte. So you need this, you don't need this, you need that. I know how long that's going to take me. This is what your subscription is going to be. I like that.
Exactly.
And the one question I had, because you're saying it's all automated, excuse me. So let's say one business is using QuickBooks, the other one is using ADP. So we've got 4 different services going in, and they're like, hey, Jessica, can you help me out? Do you have subscriptions to all those? Are you able to work within their subscription? How does that work? And how do you adapt to the small business in that regard?
Right. So most accounting softwares have a back end set up for accountants and bookkeepers. And that allows us to have specialized tools that we need to do our job that the average person coming in, a small business owner trying to do it themselves, would just get confused by all of these tools. We have those tools at our fingertips for us to use. And then we can add clients in to where we get access, and either the client pays for the service, or with some of them, I can put them in on a wholesale price and they get a discount by me paying, and then that cost is rolled into what they're paying me each month.
Okay.
Makes sense.
That's good that you can adapt with whatever service they're having. Because I know that that's probably one question you get from everybody that comes on is like, can you work with my service?
Right. Well, and let's be honest, in accounting and bookkeeping, the number one software out there is QuickBooks. So most people are working in QuickBooks, and it's very rare that I have somebody come to me and say, hey, do you use this software? But I am connected with most of the big name softwares but 90% of my client base is QuickBooks, because that's just the one everybody knows.
Yeah. I finally took the plunge and got in QuickBooks. I boycotted it forever. And then it got to the point where I'm like, I'm spending so much time doing all this other stuff. Like, I'm just going to get on. I'm buying the subscription.
Before I love QuickBooks. QuickBooks has
Are you taking full advantage of that subscription?
Someone that I have that's doing it is taking very good advantage of it.
Yeah. Are you tracking your mileage through QuickBooks?
Yeah, I can track miles. I can take pictures of receipts. That stuff's super easy for me. What I don't like doing is going back into the computer and being like, drove to basement remodel in Waukesha, enter 300 times. Or like categorizing their receipt to like, okay, that was an inventory purchase, lumber on this day, that dollar amount. But what I like about books is it actually analyzes. It's got AI in it that'll pull out dollar amount. It'll pull out date. It'll pull out where it was from. So I really just have to go and be like, what did I buy? And then hit save. So even that was great.
You do it all from your phone too.
Oh yeah. Yep. That's all on my phone.
That's the thing that blows people's minds is you can do it all from your phone.
Yeah. Have you heard of TaxBot? So I was using TaxBot before I switched over to QuickBooks, and TaxBot was great. I actually got to meet the owner of the software, who was super goofy. He used to work with the IRS, but then went into the private sector and built TaxBot. So meeting him, I was like, I like your service. I'm going to do it. It just capped out. It got me there, but then I was hand doing everything else. So then I was like, all right, I'm dropping that subscription, going with QuickBooks. It takes everything. And then when I have someone like you coming in and helping me, like put all that stuff in, it's easier for them to do it.
Well, and that's the thing that brings up a huge point. Most people don't understand that as a bookkeeper, we'll just use QuickBooks because that's what we've been talking about. If you link your bank account to QuickBooks, if you use the app and track your miles and upload receipts or email receipts, all of that, that's all you have to do, because you're paying me to come in and make sure those expenses get categorized correctly, make sure those trips get recorded correctly, make sure those receipts get attached to the correct transaction. And so QuickBooks sounds intimidating because you're like, oh my gosh, I have to make sure they get access to the bank account. I have to make sure, but it does it all for you. And there are things like I ask most of my clients to give me what's called accountant access to their bank accounts. And that sounds terrifying, but what it really means is I get my own login. So I'm not having to call you and be like, hey, you just got a text message with a secure 6-digit code. Can you give me that code so I can get into the bank account? I have my own login, but it's read-only access. So I can only see transactions and pull statements. I can't touch your money.
Okay.
But I can still get in.
I didn't know that
and pull up all the information. Yeah.
I didn't either.
So I can get in and pull up the information. So if there's a transaction that QuickBooks is pulling in one line, but not the rest of the transaction details, I can pull it in and be like, oh, okay, so they went to Walmart. Oh, so that's what that random string of numbers and a location is. It's actually Walmart. Cool. Walmart. Normally they go to Walmart for office supplies. Office supplies categorized, done. Instead of me having to call you and be like, hey, I have a transaction for this amount and the bank details is just a string of numbers. Any idea? Because you have no idea what that is. And you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, my account's been hacked. What just happened? Have I lost everything? I'm going to have to shut off that card. I have to rewrite those checks. No. It was a Walmart transaction that QuickBooks just pulled in the wrong line of information on.
Yeah.
But by giving me that accountant access, then at the end, I might have 3 transactions. And I'm like, hey, I know you're working on these properties. I'm not sure which this one plugs to. Or did you take a client to dinner because otherwise that Red Lobster meal you had, it doesn't count as a business expense.
Right.
Yeah.
And so by giving your bookkeeper all of those accesses, or working with a software such as QuickBooks that pulls in all of those accesses, your bookkeeper really does 95 to 97% of the work. And then at the end of the month, instead of looking at 50 transactions, you're looking at 3 transactions that the bookkeeper has questions on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I truly believe in your line of work. I love it. I didn't know you did the analytic part of it. That makes it even better, because from being a small business owner, I'm looking at it like my role is not to be in the office categorizing receipts, categorizing trips, analyzing all of it. Yes, I need to be involved. But so going back to when I started, I read 10X. I don't know if you've ever read that book, but it talks about, like, when you start, you are doing everything. And then you have an opportunity to make X what you did. So we're going to pay somebody the X so you can make 10X. And then you're going to have an opportunity to make 100X, and you'll pay somebody 10X, and you'll keep going up. You are right in that area where if you're a small business owner and you feel like you are drowning or it's stressing you out, it's time to 10X something. Have that off of your plate. Because as the business owner, you should be the face. You should be networking. You should be talking with clients. You should be gaining more clients. You should be talking to the clients you have, not in the office doing receipts. So the time that I'm spending doing receipts, because I'm still doing them, unfortunately, while we're doing the transition, those could be like extra emails. Hey, just wanted to touch base, thought of you today, blah, blah, blah. Knowing that this part is taken care of, and now I can do more forward-facing customer relations stuff. So your field, I will praise it forever. If you are a company that needs a service, don't think twice on it, especially as a subscription. Just like your phone bill, just like your energy bill fluctuates, I guess. So does phone.
Depending on how you set it up.
Right. Weren't we just talking about subscription plans last week with John?
Yep.
Because it's so funny. It just has nothing to do with you, but there was a gas station in, where was it? Ohio or somewhere?
Wawa. Yes. It's in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. And they had subscriptions for sodas and, was it cheeseburgers?
Or cheeseburgers or hot dogs.
Fries.
One of the two.
Yeah.
It was
fries.
And we were like, they have a subscription plan for that? He's like, yeah, you can go in like once an hour and refill your soda and for the whole month. And I'm like, really? It's like, yeah, it's like $5. Yeah. I'm like, so there's subscriptions for everything. So of course they have a subscription plan. I love it.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. There are movie theaters. Post-COVID, this sounds weird, but there are movie theaters with subscription plans. You get X number of tickets a month, and you pay X number of dollars a month.
That's crazy.
That sounds awesome. That sounds
right. So there's really subscriptions for everything.
Yeah, and that's where everything's going. I feel like Microsoft back in the day used to buy the CD for like $100, and now it's like easy payments of $10.99. I feel like everything's going subscription because I feel like, one, it's easier to swallow. So for that small business owner that's like, I don't know how much this is going to cost me, to know that it's a manageable amount that's spread out rather than an upfront or a 50-50 kind of thing, and it doesn't fluctuate, should ease some of the tension of jumping into it. And I know that if they do make the plunge and they do trust it, they're not only going to like save themselves headache, but they're going to maximize their business. One, because they're going to be in front of their clients, which is what they should be. But two, they've got you in the background analyzing, saying like, hey, you should spend more time with this client because they're bringing you X. If I had someone in my ear analyzing all this stuff, telling me like, go do that, makes it way easier on me.
Right. And it does. And I mean, it brings up the point you just said, the slogan for my business, or the unofficial slogan, is I take the stress and worry of managing the finances off of your to-do list so you can get back to doing what you love and spending time with the ones you love. Because we all go into small business so that we're not having to answer to the man and not having that set 9 to 5, so that we could be with family. But for small business owners who are trying to do it alone, you can't, because my kids just went to bed and I should be sitting with my husband or my spouse, but I'm in my office balancing my books, or I'm, having to catch up on emails because I spent 2 hours while my kids were napping trying to figure out why my budget's not balanced. And I take all of that stress off and free up all of that time. So if you think about how much time you're spending on bookkeeping, if you were to put a dollar amount on that, would it make it worth it to you, or would you pay somebody to do it?
Right.
Yeah.
So if you think about how much you're trying to make per hour or bring home per month, are the hours you're wasting on services you hate, bookkeeping, social media management, email marketing, whatever it is in your business, if you put a dollar on that, would you be losing money, or should you outsource it so you can gain money? And that's the trick.
Yep. And it's a very, very scary line to cross as a small business owner.
Whoa, we lost Marcus.
Very, very small.
There he is.
Sorry.
Marcus, come back.
So I'll just kind of continue where he's at, maybe, hopefully. It is a scary line to cross, especially as a small business owner. But it is that concept of you have to spend money to make money.
Right.
And the nice thing
Absolutely.
is outsourcing these services are a business deduction.
Oh, absolutely.
Going back to that whole tax.
100%. And if he can outsource enough to hire me on to do his social media and his podcasting, everything, you can certainly hire somebody like this to take care of your accounting. Just saying.
Exactly. And so it's one of those where, yes, you have to spend a little bit of money, but is that spending a little bit of money going to free you up to where you can make more money? So in real estate, is it, I'm going to hire somebody to do my bookkeeping, which is going to free up 5 hours a week, and I can show 15 more houses in that 5 hours, which will bring up my statistical idea of a sell faster, because we all know you have to go through how many no's on a house before it sells. And so if you can show that house more.
Well, not right now, you don't have to, but typically, yes.
Well, yeah, not right now. Yeah, not right now. It's a seller's market, let's be honest.
Holy guacamole, it's nuts.
On average, so for your buyer clients, you need to show them 20 houses and a chance that they get a good bid in.
Oh my God.
But you can do that if you're having to focus on bookkeeping or whatever that pain point in your business is. Outsourcing it, you're going to spend a little bit of money, but how much more time are you going to free up to make more money? That's where that pain point is of, it's scary, but spending this little bit of money really is going to bring me more money. And that can be something as disconnected as bookkeeping or as logical as somebody to do your ad marketing. Spending money outsourcing a pain point is always going to make you more money.
Absolutely.
In the long run. It's not going to be instantaneous, but in the long run, you're going to see a better return on your investment.
I love that.
Absolutely. Once you believe in it, it will happen. On that subscription thing, do clients with you sign a year contract? Is it month to month? How does that all work in terms of?
So my contract is technically for 1 year.
Okay.
I say technically because as long as their service stays the same and there has not been any increase in any of the back office, so if they're paying their subscription through me, as long as there hasn't been an increase in that, more than likely their rate's going to stay the same. So at the end of that year, we can decide if we want to sign a new contract or just keep the old one in place. So technically it's a 1-year contract, but more than likely, as long as there aren't any changes, it's going to stay pretty consistently the same.
Yeah. And I think that's a good timeline. I mean, if you go any shorter, you jump on, you onboard, and they're like, oh, it's not worth it. And you're like, you've got to give it time to at least like see what's going to happen. And I think after that year, you do a nice analysis of how much money you've increased or what's going on. Then you make another decision. So I think the year, especially for that business owner, knowing like, okay, this isn't some monumental thing. That's really like, I think that's like pretty much the bare minimum of what you can do to read how.
Right. Like, and I mean, even at a year, you may not see a ton of growth. You might see a break even, but what you'll see is maybe less financial and more time. You'll find that you're able to invest more time in your business, and you may not see those dollar amounts adjustments happening, but you'll see, okay, I really am spending way more time working with clients, getting more homes into my portfolio, whatever.
Yep.
Maybe less on the dollar side, but give it 2 years and you'll start seeing a definite increase on the financial side too.
Right. Yeah. If someone brings you on and they're seeing a break even, that means that one, they've made more money because they've just made enough to pay you. And two, the time that they've spent somewhere else. So that is then going to topple on itself and you're going to generate more on that regard. So
exactly.
I think that's fair. That's super cool. Your whole setup is awesome. I really like it.
Well, thank you.
So Natasha, we're at just being aware of your time.
Oh my goodness, Marcus.
Hour.
You're starting to become a man after my heart. Watch out.
I'm trying to follow the rules here. I get cut off in an hour. He's gone over his hour limit more times than I care to count. So I've had to like rein him in and be like, don't do that, Marcus. When we weren't on video, it was super funny because I'd be sitting there talking and all of a sudden she'd be like, and I was like, okay, I get it. Thanks. She can't do that now on camera.
I can't. I can't. And I can't even like poke you because we're not in the same place anymore.
I know.
Phew. Okay, so I have one last question for you. And you probably don't have any, you probably don't have an answer for me right now. So you'll have to come back on later and give me an answer once you purchase a home. My question was going to be, what's your favorite DIY project that you've done? But I don't know if you've done any with an apartment.
Well, I haven't done any in my own home, but my parents built their own home from the ground up, and I helped a lot with that.
That's a little DIY project.
Yes.
Yeah. So, backstory before I can go into this. My parents lost their home in the Little Bear Fire in 2014. I had to think of when that was, in New Mexico, which was one of the largest wildfires in New Mexico. So we actually rebuilt on the same area as our old home. And a couple of things that we did in there was one, we were felling some trees to clear land and we cut into one and it looked like this great, perfect piece for a beam. And so we got ready to put it in and we flipped it over and the other side was still burned. You wouldn't even know it. So we have the main support beam for the house actually has a burn hole in it from the fire.
That's awesome.
And when we planed it, there was a piece that came off that was see-through with a burn hole. So a non-support beam on the second floor has the ring of the burn hole of the lower piece. So that's really cool. But my favorite DIY that we did in there, and it's not even finished yet. My mom is working on an area for the grandkids, and she's always been about making the world as magical as possible. So we actually put a climbing tree in her basement where the reading nook will be. And so there's a tree that the grandkids can actually climb in the house.
That is so
sweet.
Cool. I love that.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Super cool. Well, how can our guests get a hold of you if they want to utilize your services? Because I mean, these sound like just the best possible option out there.
Well, thank you. The easiest way to get a hold of me is at my website, which is jmbookkeepingpro.com. And that has links to all of my social media and everything, which I have not done anything in the last year on, but my website is up and active and I'm responding to it daily. So
awesome.
Follow me on social media. Just don't expect to see a lot of content out there.
That's super cool. Awesome. We'll make sure to include that in the show notes. So anybody and everybody, hopefully, who wants to get a hold of you will do so. Because I think
yes, I look forward to it.
Best option out there. So thank you so much for coming on today. And thank you so much for being so last minute. I could not, you saved my rear end. Thank you.
I'm so happy I saw the post and was able to reach out. So I'm glad we got connected.
Me too. Awesome.
That's super cool. Yeah, I appreciate it. I really like what you have to offer. I might be reaching out to see what you can do for us here.
All right.
Because obviously, I don't know if I've communicated enough. I don't really like bookkeeping. So
I kind of picked up on there were a couple of hints in there that it wasn't your favorite, but I wasn't completely sold on it.
So we will be talking soon. But yeah, I appreciate it. I think you got a wonderful setup. Hopefully your clients are happy with it. Hopefully coming on the show, some more people reach out to you because I truly believe I see the value in it. Hopefully other people do too.
Awesome.
Well, thank you. It's been so much fun and I'm glad we got connected. So
thank you so much. All right. Well, have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
All right. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.